Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast. And thank you so much to my subscribers and my return visitors. I so appreciate you. It gives me opportunities to bring you great guests like the one I have today, Mr. Derry Grehan from Honeymoon Suite. Derry is the guitarist for Honeymoon Suite. Honeymoon Suite been making their brand of melodic rock since 1981. They have sold millions of records, number of top 40 hits, Juno Award for Group of the Year in 1986. The band has just released their ninth studio album. I can't believe I said that. Ninth studio album titled Wake Me Up When the Sun Goes Down. It's on Frontiers Music. And Derry's here to tell us all about it. Derry, it's great to have you, man.
Hey Scott, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's great to have Honeymoon Suite music and your great playing and see that tread guitar still out there. It is a trademark. You got your own signature guitar now, don't you?
I do. We got that out about two years ago, 3 years ago. And I'm really excited and very happy with the way it came out.
Yeah, man, that's so cool, and we've been seeing it for years, and it's great to have it kind of solidified in that legacy of
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. It's
yeah,
well
yeah.
deserved. Yeah, well deserved. I want to go to the writing process for you, because that's such a monumental thing in all the Honeymoon Suite records. I see Johnny D, Derry Grehan. That's kind of the team. And there's been others involved as well, but the core of that whole catalog, really, Johnny D, Derry Grehan. Um, is that writing process the same? Has it changed over the years? Because I still see you guys doing it together. How does it work? Has it changed over the years?
In the beginning, it was primarily me writing everything back in the first and second album because I had such a backlog of songs. And when we got our record deal, it's like we got signed on the strength of New Girl Now. But then everybody said, "Well, Derry, you got any more songs?" And okay, so time to step up. So fortunately, I had a lot of good ideas in my back pocket. So I would come in just for the sake of expediency. I would come in and play them for the band. I'd have the arrangement already done, the lyric and everything, just teach it to Johnny because we didn't have time to woodshed for 6 months and write songs together.
Right.
It would take too long. So fortunately, I did it all and it worked. But as we went along in the last, few years, Johnny and I have started to write together a lot more. The last 3 or 4 albums, because Johnny's really come into his own as a writer. So now it's I usually start the ideas. I'll bounce them off Johnny, and if they don't resonate with him, then that's it. I'll keep it for somebody else because he has to get behind it and sing it. But if he likes
Right.
it, then he'll jump in and write it with me. And then for the last 2 albums, the Alive record and this new one, we've been working with our producer, Mike Crumpus, who himself is a producer, a songwriter, and a player in his own right.
Yeah.
He jumped in as a co-writer, so the three of us have written the last 2 albums as a three-way team.
Yeah, I see him co-write on this stuff, and it's like, wow. And it's so honeymoon sweet. I mean, you always seem to capture that honeymoon sweet sound and style on every record, really. I don't, most bands will, they want to try something new. They've been doing the same thing. Maybe they throw some, weird something in there and it kind of changes the landscape. You guys have not done it. You stay true to what you do. There's some different things here and there, but it's always honeymoon sweet, man. It never fails, and that's so admirable in songwriting in its own, much less playing it. Um, I noticed this record, the longest track, 3 minutes 45 seconds, which is incredible. But that's fairly typical of what you guys do. There's some things that are a little longer, but you stick to that quick hit, simple, verse, chorus, verse, melodic rock
Mhm.
formula. It's what you do and you do it so well. Is that a conscious decision? When you if you're writing and say you write something that tends to go on 6 7 minutes maybe, do you say nope, not going there, we got to trim this down and make it something different? Is that a conscious decision to keep it that short?
No, man, it's not the 70s. You can't get away with 6 minute songs anymore.
Right.
The public has a very short attention span, and so do I. Uh, Songs, it's like let's cut out the waste. Let's trim the fat. Only get the best verse, the best chorus. Make sure they hit and they hit quick and hard because the listener is expecting that, and that's kind of just my style. When I'm listening to music or a great song, is hold their attention from the beginning of the song. So if it ends up coming in at 3 minutes or 3 minutes 20, fine. I'm not timing it. I'm just listening to the song, and to me, every section is important. So I guess that's kind of an answer to your question.
Yeah, yeah, and like I say, I mean, it doesn't sound like it has to be that way or anything. It just happens organically, and it's kind of what you don't play is most
Exactly.
important. Yeah,
Sometimes we'll do demos and I'll listen back objectively and I'll go, these two bars don't need to be here. It's just wasted time. It could be much more exciting if this little section went from here to there without this other thing in between. And usually we're right. And the listener won't know, but they'll appreciate what you did. Holds their
yeah.
attention better.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean that's sometimes hard for, a guitar player or, something, you know what I mean? You
Oh,
want
to
to
cut the
play.
solo down. Yeah, chop the lead solo down to
Right.
bars. Like what do you mean you're shortening my solo? But you know what? As a songwriter, first to me, I serve the song first and foremost. It's not about the lead solo or anything like that. It's about the song, the lyric, and the melody first and foremost.
Yeah. And that's a lot of the reason we still have Honeymoon Suite today.
That's
It's
our
that.
brand, man. That's our style. We never tried to vary from that. Like I mentioned earlier, things have to resonate with Johnny because he has to sing it. He has to
Yeah.
get behind it. So we've tried, we've done some smaller independent records way back many years ago. We tried to get maybe a little grungier with it in the 90s
Right.
just to try, but it wasn't us. And we realized this is not serving our fans. This is what our fans like about the band. It doesn't matter. We've been around for 40 years. This is our brand. So give people what they, give your fans what they want, what we love and what they love.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for that. We appreciate it as fans for sure. With that said, anything specific you wanted to do with this record? Did you go in saying maybe we throw a little more keyboard or less keyboard or more guitar, less guitar? And any kind of thing you wanted to highlight with this record?
I thought I love the record, but I wanted to have more keyboards on it because that's a big part of our signature sound.
Hmm.
But it didn't turn out that way. We didn't have a whole lot of time for extra keyboard parts and things, which we'll do more on the next album because that's a huge part of our sound. Having said that, though, there's a lot of songs that are super guitar driven, and there's no place for keyboards. By the time we put all the
Right.
vocals and guitars on, there's no room for them. They're just going to clutter it up. So, again, serving the song. So, I love keyboards, but it has to be the right song. So, I don't, I'm pretty happy with the way things came out.
Definitely, definitely. And the keyboards, I noticed that there wasn't a lot of keyboard, but it's still Honeymoon Suite. I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. You just, when and a lot of it's Johnny's sound, of course, and the voice is always that, but it's not just that. It's the formations of the songs, the way they're written, the guitars, even the drum sound has a certain Honeymoon Suite thing to it. It's incredible. It really
Yeah.
is.
Well, that's what I grew up. I love songs that, I grew up on Deep Purple and Journey and
Mhm.
you know, all these great bands. And I'm a fan of big, big melodic choruses. As long as they're not cheesy. And Mike is a great writer as well. So he's a he's a Canadian boy, and he grew up listening to Honeymoon Suite. He's a little younger than us, so he didn't change us. He knew what we were about, so he was all about bringing that out of us.
Yeah. And that is so great. And I think that's really important in the producer chair. And I think like Black Sabbath got that with Rick Rubin when they did the 13 album, that last record. It kind of, I put that on because I'm a big Sabbath fan, and I love the first record, as raw and unfiltered as that is. And with him doing it, he came in as a fan, and he knows what that fans want and love about the band, and it kind of brought it back to that beginning. And I think we get that with these last two albums and Mike in the producer chair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Rick Rubin's specialty for sure.
yeah, it's pretty cool. When you released the first record, the LA scene is in full swing. The Sunset Strip. I know here in Chicago, a lot of friends, a lot of bands migrating to LA, coming from all over the country and out of the country, to get to LA to get signed. It was a thing. Did you guys ever consider that? You're such a Canadian staple, and so popular among the Canadian crowd. Did you ever think of taking it to LA at that time?
You mean moving down there?
Yeah, or at least recording there, being part of that scene.
Oh, well, we did. I mean, after the first album came out, we were signed by WIA in Canada. Shortly thereafter, we were signed to Warner Brothers in the States, in LA.
Okay,
So in the 80s, we spent a lot of time in LA,
okay,
recording, doing videos, playing. Our manager had a place down there. I thought about moving there. I probably should have, because maybe I have a house now, but that's impossible. But I didn't, because we were coming in and out of there. So yes, I mean the Racing After Midnight was recorded there in LA,
okay.
and a lot of again, we were in and out of there. We shot a lot of videos there because we were with Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
So it's not like we weren't there. And we hung out, and we went to the Rainbow Room and the Troubadour, and hung out in Sunset. We
right.
did our share of partying. Oh, sorry about this phone here.
Oh, that's okay.
My tour manager's going nuts, but he can wait.
Yeah, you're sure. Take care of business. But
No,
please.
it's okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you're there. You're doing your thing. You do the second record, the big prize. For me, one of my all-time favorite records. Not just my favorite Honeymoon Suite record, but one of my favorite records of all time. I just listened to that, and it hits me in a certain way that a lot of records, most records don't. And I'm not sure what exactly that is. Bob Rock engineering and Bruce Fairbairn producing probably has a little bit to do with that. But was there how do you feel about that record in the canon of Honeymoon Suite? Is there a special kind of magic to that record?
There sure is. I
Okay.
mean, let's face it, sonically, it's probably one of our best sounding albums. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it's terrific. Nothing, the other records are great too, but the Big Prize had a certain shimmer to it where, with Fairburn and Bob Rock, come on. Yes, I agree with you.
It
Hands down. It's like a classic album. It just,
it
recorded in Vancouver, mixed in England. It's just one of those things where the right people at the right time, everybody, it just was a project that came out so great.
Man, and I have to ask you, you do Racing After Midnight, and you go from that to Ted Templeman, not a step down, that's for sure. Uh, Crazy great producer. But you had Bob Rock, and you had the funding for that record, probably. You were backed because of the success of the first one. Um, but you got Bob Rock and Bruce Fairburn. Why not? Why are they not producing Racing After Midnight?
Exactly. And I wanted them to. Okay. So at the time that Bruce did the record, Bob Rock was still just his engineer.
Right.
Bob was kind of starting to do other production projects on the side. Neither one of them had blown up into superstardom yet because he hadn't done the Bon Jovi record yet.
Right.
So he'd done some Loverboy and this and that, and he'd done Honeymoon Suite. And then right after that, he did Slippery When Wet. And all of a sudden, he's a super producer. And then Bob does, Metallica and Motley Crue and all these other bands. All of a sudden, these guys, they're not available. And
Right.
Bruce and I were great friends. And I pleaded with him. I'd love to work with you again. And it's like, Derry, I can, but you're gonna have to wait 2 years.
Wow.
Work with me. And then you had the label saying, no, we can't wait that long.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's just the way it worked out with these guys, right? They
Uh,
went to the stratosphere. So fortunately, being on Warner Brothers, Ted Templeman was head of A&R at Warner's in LA, and
uh,
he was a fan of the bands. So it's a long story, but he stepped in and produced the third record.
uh,
It's amazing for me because I'm a huge Van Halen fan and Montrose and Doobies.
I was gonna say Montrose. That first Montrose album is probably my favorite record of all time.
So it was a
Uh,
logical choice for me.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
so we moved on, and that's the way it worked out.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we didn't have to wait a couple of years. And it's a great record. And this
Yeah,
Ted Templeman definitely not a step down. Uh,
yeah.
yeah. Um, Johnny gets hit by the car at LAX around this time. You bring in Michael McDonald. Seems like an odd fit to Honeymoon Suite. He's a co-write on one. Is there anything else? How did he get chosen to step in and help out? And is there anything on the cutting room floor that we
Okay,
didn't
well
get?
that's bizarre. Okay, so Ted is producing the record, and we're recording it in LA. As you know, Ted is good friends with Michael from the Doobies.
Doobies.
He's
Yep.
on his solo record. So Ted and Michael are really good friends. Um, I had one song that we just couldn't finish, and we're getting to near the end of the record. The music was all demoed, but we couldn't get the right lyric, and we were banging our heads against the wall. And Ted just suggested one day in the studio, look, this might be a little odd, but I'm going to call Michael up and I'm going to send him the demo, see if he hears anything. And we're like, why not? Because I'm a fan of Michael McDonald's. Come on.
Absolutely.
So he sent it to Michael. Next day, Michael comes to the studio, and he's written the lyric, and he's recorded it, and that's it. He sings it to Johnny, and Johnny cuts it. And he hung around that day, and I was out on the floor singing background vocals with Michael McDonald on a microphone. And I'm like, it was surreal. So that's how that happened. It was through Ted.
Wow, it's pretty cool. Did he do anything? Did he have anything that didn't get on the album that he might have written or sang with you?
No, that's the only,
Yeah.
to the extent that he wrote with us, that's the only thing. It was a last minute, hey, Michael, can you come in and help the guys, finish this song? But I do have, I don't know if I mentioned we're working on a box set now. And
Nice.
the label's been after me to find some rarities and some demos and outtakes. And I'm going through my cassettes a couple of weeks ago, and I found a cassette with Michael McDonald singing the song uh, on it before
Nice.
Johnny did his vocal, which is really bizarre. So I'm hoping we can put that on the box set.
Ah, how cool is that, man? That would be great. Yeah, like I say, I mean, he's Michael McDonald. I mean, he's great, one of the great voices of all time.
Yeah,
But an odd fit, a really odd fit for Honeymoon Suite, I think.
yeah, that's LA for you, man. I mean, you're working with a guy like Ted. You just pick up the phone and Michael just, can you come over here? Everybody lives there. It's just, you'd be surprised how many songwriters you wouldn't expect have written songs that you hear songs. You'd be surprised sometimes who the writers are.
Yeah.
A little bizarre, but that's just the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it's, super talent. You
Yeah.
can do anything really, which is great. Paul Northfield, another huge name, Monsters Under the Bed. You've worked with so many personalities and styles. Now you get Mike Krampus in for the last two. He's a co-writer, a little bit different. What does Mike bring to the sound that maybe those other guys didn't?
Well, Mike is good because number one, he's a Canadian, he's a Toronto boy. He's a few years younger than us, than me and Johnny, but he grew up as a kid listening to Honeymoon Suite. He was a super fan and he's a guitar player, learning my licks. So to me, when you bring a producer in, they need to come in and not produce the record for themselves or their own right. They need to produce it for the band and do what's right for the band. So
Yeah.
Mike knew the sound, and that's really important that the producer comes in and says, "I'm going to produce a Honeymoon Suite record, not a Ted Teppelman record or whatever." So that's what Mike did. He's familiar with the band, but at the same time, he works with a lot of younger pop acts. He does country. He does all this newer stuff. So he knows he's really good with the Pro Tools. And what he did in a nutshell is he brought a fresh kind of sound to the production, and you can hear it. And it's traditional Honeymoon Suite, but it's not dated sounding. So it's
Right.
kind of yeah, it's how do I put it? The production is really fresh and new sounding, but the guitars and drums are big and crunchy, and the melodic rock is still there.
Yeah. Again, it's Honeymoon Suite. Somehow it always turns out to be Honeymoon Suite.
Yeah,
Uh,
Mike just put a nice shine on everything and produced it nicely.
Definitely, definitely. It's got a great sound. And I know you view the band as a live band. It's what you guys do. And you like to play in the same room, I've heard. But that's nowadays that doesn't happen. It's everybody's living in different places. It rarely happens that you're in the same room creating or recording. So there's files. Um, did you record this new record together in a studio, or did you do it how we do it now?
No, but this new one was much more organic in that respect. Live drums, live guitar, because um, Mike had previously been living in England, and he finally moved back to Toronto, which is really great because now we're kind of all in the same place, and we could go to his house and sit in the same room and play together.
Yeah.
So the new one is a lot more like that. There was some file sharing. I would do some of my tracks at home,
Uh,
as opposed to Alive, the last record, which we started right before COVID. Okay.
yeah.
So that, as you know, just messed up everything. The live record, there was a lot more file sharing going on because Mike had moved to England. We couldn't get over there because of COVID.
Yeah.
And I was in the States. Johnny was up in Canada. Mike's in England. So we had to do a lot more flying stuff around tracks that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's great, and both of those records just and the new records just sound so good. It's really just a lush kind of production thing
yeah,
too.
this is the beauty of, I miss tape. I miss recording 2 inch, tape, and there's
Yeah,
nothing like it. But at the same time, the digital process has really facilitated a lot of, like you say, guys living all in different cities, like a lot of bands do now. It's
yeah,
really great that I can sit at home, take my time to do my tracks, and then
yeah.
send them in and not waste days in the studio. So the
Right.
digital thing is really great like that.
Yeah, totally. And cost, of course, too, flying here and there, and
And
you know,
everybody's got a home studio, so there is a lot of advantages to it.
yeah, and like I say, it's warm, it's lush, it's a great production, and you can do it if you know what you're doing, and Mike obviously knows what he's
Oh,
doing.
yeah, I mean the
You
digital
know,
stuff, Pro Tools has come such a long way in
uh,
emulating tape and everything else. It's just the
uh,
technology is incredible and keeps getting better.
yeah, it's pretty great. Unpredictable sound stands out to me on this record. It's a different kind of vibe.
It is.
It's a cool fuzzy slide kind of thing. Uh, do you ever write something like this and question whether it's honeymoon suite material?
No, because if you listen to every Honeymoon Suite album we've done, it's not just 10 songs that all sound the same. Our records really have a variety on them of
Mhm.
different kind of songs, but all still within the Honeymoon Suite, sound.
Yeah.
So this Unpredictable was kind of a sleeper track. we were going through demos, and Johnny always liked the song. That song is like over 20 years old, by the way. I mean,
Oh wow.
it's a demo that it's something that's been kicking around our camp for a long time. We just never found the right time to record it, or it was good enough. So at the end of the sessions for this album, Johnny is still like, he's like, Dermot, what about Unpredictable, man? Like, what about that? And I'm like, I don't know, man. And says, so we played it for Mike, and Mike, wow, there's something about that I like, but I don't like the riff that you're doing. So as what happens usually with me, Mike, and Johnny in our writing sessions, Mike will go, wait a minute, let's try this. So he kind of came up with the verse riff, kind of rewrote that. We threw some slide in there. It's one of those songs we just had fun with, and we demoed it really quickly. Mike just starts getting up a drum loop, and we were just having fun, and we ended up finishing the song and putting it on the record because it's different and it's funny, but
Yeah.
it's still us. It's interesting.
Yeah, it really is. And like I say, it stood out to me. It was just an interesting is a great word.
Yeah,
I heard it. I said definitely honeymoon suite,
yeah,
but it's different. That slide guitar fuzzy thing, man, that's
I
that's
know.
cool.
Yeah, that's a little bit different for sure, but why not? I like surprises on records. Look, when I was a kid, one of my favorite bands is Queen. Okay, so I think the first Queen record I bought was Sheer Heart Attack, and what I loved about Queen, there were so many different things on their records.
Oh yeah.
Every song was a surprise. What so bizarre. Every song was so
Yeah.
different.
Yep.
That's why that's why I like Queen. I like bands like that. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. I know you have a new solo record. It's gonna happen. Dirty Power Part Two. What can you tell us? And I know you don't want to interfere with the promotion on this new Honeymoon Suite record, of course. But is it done? Do you see a time for it to come out?
The second album.
Yeah, that the second solo album.
Oh, well, I have no plans for it, but
Okay.
never say never. Look, the Dirty Power record was a perfect example of a COVID, a pandemic, experiment because all us musicians had nothing to do for 2 years.
All right.
And play. So I spent a lot of time in the studio, and I decided, I have all these riffs kicking around, and I don't want to write lyrics or melody to them anymore. They're just cool riffs. So I thought
Yeah,
instrumental. So that's what happened in COVID. I put that together, and it came out really well,
yeah,
and
dude.
it kind of whetted my appetite. I'd love to do another solo record when this cycle is over. I might, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a badass record. I mean, and it's not honeymoon suite, really. It's, of course it's you and there's that sound and style, but it's not a honeymoon suite record by any
No,
stretch,
no,
really.
it allows me to step away and do stuff like, I'm a big fan of Joe Satriani and Steve
Hmm.
Vai and Steve Stevens and all these guitar players that I listen to, and it gives me a chance to stretch out a little bit and just do what I want to do,
Yeah.
play some metal licks, whatever, because I
Yeah.
do all kinds of stuff. So yes.
Yeah. Man, I just talked, I have to say this. I just talked to Glenn Hughes, Deep Purple, Glenn Hughes, and he just did vocals on something called Satch Vi. I don't know if you've heard that, but it's Satriani and
Oh,
Vi together with Glenn Hughes singing. So yeah, something to
well,
definitely
cool.
check out.
Glenn Hughes, one of my first big concerts when I was a kid. Like I mentioned, I'm a Deep Purple fan, but I
Yeah,
didn't get to see them till Coverdale and Hughes joined the band.
yeah,
So my first big show was on the Burn tour in Buffalo when I was a kid,
man.
and it was Glenn Hughes and David Coverdale, and they were
Yep.
just rock stars.
They were
Glenn,
incredible.
Glenn's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, he is, and he's such a sweetheart too. I mean, he's just a great guy. Yeah, well, what a catalog for him. But Crazy Life, I wanted to touch on. It talks about the rock star lifestyle and touring, and all those things. Probably you dreamed of when you started in a band, right? Um, do you still long for that crazy life? What does that song kind of hold for you at this point?
Well, it's a bluesy kind of drop D riff kind of, I go there sometimes with my playing. I love that. It's
Yeah.
almost like country rock a little bit, but that's just another side of my playing. And the music told me what to write it about. It sounds like crazy life, wake me up when the sun goes down. That's kind of where the
Yep.
title came from. It's just a tip of the hat to the life that we live. We lived a lot more like that in the 80s,
Right.
but we were younger then and, willing to put up with the hangovers. But no, we don't live that life so much anymore. I've learned my lesson, but it's all part of the rock and roll lifestyle, man. And
Yeah.
I don't regret 1 minute. So I wrote about it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I hear it, and like the music is fresh, um, but something like that is still, hey, we're still there. We may not have the hangovers anymore, but it's still that rock and roll life, and we love it.
Nothing has changed, man. The younger bands, that's what they're doing. That's what you do. That's what this life is
Yeah,
you're either all in or you're not.
yeah, it's cool, and it's great to see y'all in for sure. With that said, bucket list kind of thing. You've done so much, and you're still doing. You're way not done. Um, but is there something particular that you've always wanted to do and haven't done yet?
Well, as far as Honeymoon Suite goes, we need to tour more. I'd love to go back and tour more in Europe, Germany and France and that. And hopefully Frontiers can help us with that with this album. We miss playing over there. We only go over every couple of years and play a festival. So I'd love to play in Europe a lot more. Definitely in the US a lot more. We're working on that. So touring wise, because we play a lot in Canada, but I know that we could kill if we play more in the States. So that's one bucket list to just tour down here because there's so many places to play and great bands. And I'm Canadian, but I've been living in the States for 22 years. So it makes me nuts that we're not playing down here more, but
It,
working on it.
me
And then
too.
then bucket list, I don't know, like I'd like to do another solo album. And as a songwriter, I just like writing songs, and it's a real thrill for me when I write a song for somebody else, or I co-write with another artist, and the song gets cut. So that kind of stuff is always exciting for me.
Yeah, that's cool. And you've, it brings me back to the second album and All Along You Knew, working with Ian Anderson. That was a huge thing for me. I'm a huge, huge Tull fan. Um, and another kind of odd fit, but it's just a masterpiece. One of my favorite Honeymoon Suite songs for sure.
Yeah, it was quirky. We toured our first U.S. tour was with Jethro Tull, so
Man,
that's where the hookup came, and it was just a suggestion in the studio. And we were mixing the record in England. Turns out Ian Anderson lived maybe an hour away from the studio. More
wow.
than happy to come over and play the track because he's
Man,
just a nice old English gentleman, and I love when stuff like that happens. So
yeah. Yeah, that's cool. You see it, you first see anything, any guests like that? Would you like that to do that again?
yeah, I mean, it's always a possibility. I
Yeah.
mean, if somebody makes a suggestion, we always have a way to get to somebody. It doesn't hurt to ask. They can say no, but I love when people come in and guest on other people's records.
Yeah,
Why not?
especially that odd dichotomy thing that happens with those, where Michael McDonald and Honeymoon Suite. You wouldn't really consider putting them together, Ian Anderson and Honeymoon Suite, but it works and it happens and it's a beautiful thing for
I
sure.
think that adds a nice flavor to a record. I think that's a nice little surprise. You see a lot of that now, featuring this and featuring that person. And if it's a good fit, why not? I think it just makes the album better when it
Yeah,
can.
yeah, it's beautiful, man. Uh, Wake Me Up When the Sun Goes Down, Frontiers Records. It's out there now. Derry, man, this has been a dream come true. I so appreciate and grateful for your time.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
and are you coming to Chicagoland? Is that in the plans?
I hope so. We were there, I think last year we played up in St. Charles at your
The
Arcadia Theater.
Yep.
So we do get a Chicago play every once in a while. We love it. So we're working on it. Definitely want to get up your way.
Man, fantastic, Derry. Let's do it again, man. For the solo album.
Oh, sure.
Uh,
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Take care, bud.
Yeah, take care.
Bye bye.